We set up a time to meet prior to when we start. When you show up 3 minutes before you start,
I was here. I was trying to get this thing situated. It sucks.
I show up typically an hour before the show.
Yeah, tell the people why their time is invaluable.
We are not going to make false claims that we are the best at anything. We are the most lamest, ridiculous HVAC entertainment live stream podcast, whatever you want to call it, in the world. Welcome to the HVAC Overtime Show. See, Bill's going to be mad that I didn't do like a surprise intro. But guess what? Bill's not here because what's he doing?
Screw him.
It's just
Bill tells the truth.
Yeah. Bill does tell the truth. Bill doesn't tell the truth. Bill will tell the truth when it makes people uncomfortable. Bill is very good at making people uncomfortable and saying things that cross the line, but don't cross the line, that are just like right in that weird limbo place. Yeah, that's Bill.
Bill's off tonight.
Bill is off tonight. Where did he go, though? What's going on? I think he's sitting at home watching the show right now.
Thanks, buddy.
What is it?
How does he know what fitted hat? What? I'm confused. What is
what it is? Don't worry.
What is the hat?
Don't worry. The guys who know. If you don't know, sorry, you don't know.
The Toronto Leafs?
Yeah, Toronto Leafs.
Looks like
I don't know. There's a leaf that has a T on the top.
Doesn't matter. It's not Toronto Leafs. You sound so
like
American.
Texas Rangers.
Who doesn't watch
like
sport?
that, dude. I don't know.
That's
but like,
good.
why does that hat look like it's too big on you?
It is a big hat.
It's like a 5-gallon.
5 gallon like a cowboy hat.
5 gallon compared to gallons now. Oh my god. Oh dear.
It's the Toronto Blue Jays. See, that's all we needed to know. Something like that.
He's saying I'm smiling more than usual.
Why do I have a host? So is the StreamYard app for you guys like all dark?
Yeah, they give me an option.
White.
I put a dark mode. Yeah.
Oh, I put it dark too. Okay, I didn't know if I like changed it for everybody or what.
How do you do that?
No.
When you started it asked you, there was like a prompt. Do you want to go dark mode? I wouldn't do it now because you probably
want to do it now.
You got to exit, dummy. Well, then you need to leave and then play with it for an hour and then maybe come back on the show. Jerk.
What a guy. It's enough he sounds like crap. Now he has to leave.
Dumbass. Oh, man.
Hey, Tyler. Mike.
Don't put me back in. I'm trying to redo this.
Yeah. So, this dumbass. This time you left. He's gone for real. Oh, man. Dude, I want a piece of that licorice rope stuff that you got right now.
Sorry, bro. I didn't know you. It's right. You and Adam actually.
It didn't ask me anything.
Oh,
yeah. Keep doing that, Joe. Keep doing that.
I am on this diet thing where I'm not eating sugar. And so there's like no good snacks in my house. Like every night I eat, because I can't eat just like in small amounts. Like I eat massive amounts of snacks, right? So that's part of my problem why I'm trying not to eat sugar. But I sit down and I'm like, I want some pistachios. Well, I fill up a bowl that's this tall, halfway with pistachios and then peanuts. And then I just mix through it and eat the whole damn thing. That's my snack now because I can't have sugar, candy, good stuff.
I cut down a little bit on coffee. Coffee was fucking killing me
Coffee?
today.
Why would you cut down on coffee? That gives me energy, man.
Do I look
I
younger?
know.
I just clicked the button that says touch up my appearance.
Oh
Where's
yeah.
that button at?
Do I look like Pamela Anderson?
How do I do that? I want to touch up my appearance.
StreamYard does it.
Settings. Is it in set? Ooh.
I don't think I have mine on.
I just turned it off. I can't look like that.
What do I look like now? I touched up my appearance.
A dumbass.
More Californian.
Do I look fancy? What? I don't understand what it even does. It's stupid.
Leon cut down a fentanyl. That's always good.
Turn
But
that
it
off.
was killing you,
That's
eh? I bet.
I was doing like, well, you know what? I gotta say that I think it is important that one thing that I like if I'm trying to watch what I eat, I get into a bad habit where I'm like not eating during the day. Like I'll have one meal. And that's probably the worst thing you could do, you know?
Yeah. Well, no, I eat 2 meals a day. So, I mean, still not great. But yeah, I literally eat 2 meals a day. I don't eat breakfast.
So I was just down at you guys probably, I don't know if you guys have ever met him. Chad from Simpson Salute in Ohio.
I think I met him at the symposium, no?
Oh, he big freaking residential company. He's an awesome dude. I was down there and
Maybe not. I don't know.
Freaking 3 meals a day, like going out for breakfast, bringing in lunch, dinner, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I can't do that. I can't do it.
I had a ride along today with a potential new hire. And about halfway through the day, I like went to go do something and then I had to cough and then all of a sudden my throat hurts and I'm like, what the hell? And I realized I haven't talked this much in a long time. I didn't even pick up my phone today. I was literally working, talking, teaching and like doing all this stuff. And now my throat hurts just from freaking talking all day, dude.
You got done working and he's probably like, God, this guy won't shut up.
Yeah, probably. But that's the other thing though, too, at the end of my day. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to make this kid an offer too. He's young. He's going to be an apprentice. And so anyways, but we'll deal with that next week. But I realized how much I forgot I really like teaching and like educating and working with him all day. And at the end of the day, I'm like, I didn't even look at my phone almost all day. And I'm like, wow, I had a good time. Like it was fun. Like it's cool. So I got to figure that out. I got to dig into that a little bit deeper because I really do like training and teaching and stuff.
Must be nice. I wish I was him. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say he's got COVID. It wasn't that he was talking to.
Probably. I'm drinking chamomile tea with honey right now. So
that sucks. No, he's young, getting into the trade. Hopefully, he keeps his head together and stays with it, man. I wish I was that young going into the trade.
Yeah,
I was. My head wasn't there. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yes, friendly neighborhood maintenance man or maintenance guy wants to know if he watches my channel. Yeah, that's how he knew I was hiring. So yeah,
that's pretty cool, dude.
Yeah, it is a little interesting riding in the van with someone that like knows me from like videos or something. It's a little different, but cool, dude. So
yeah, see if you ask questions, see if he seems interested, and
yeah,
pretty cool. Well, I'm starting a new position next week, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it's cool. What kind of work?
We'll see what happens.
Kind of work?
It's all commercial.
Oh, so you're getting away from the high-end residential stuff.
Yeah. Except for my own little clients, but
high-end residential is commercial, but
true.
What I mean is it's a whole different lifestyle. Like it's a whole different type of stuff because you have to walk on eggshells. You have to be careful. You're going to commercial job sites where you're going to be left alone and probably not talk to people, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. They have these guys are a huge company. They're putting in like I'm telling you, they work with Toyota, Honda, like Ford factories, a huge VRF systems. But they're branching off doing a service side. So I'll be part of that new team.
It's cool. You look like Lou Ferrigno down there, dude. Like he's pissed off.
Yeah, the guy. Fuck, I thought I was Lou Ferrigno. So we'll see how that goes. But I'll be by myself too. So I have my own truck. So we'll see how happens. Maybe get some filming. And
did you say you'll have your own drugs?
Truck.
I swear I heard drugs. I'll have my own drugs. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing up there in Canada?
So is this a new company, Joe?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
I remember I branched off to do my own little thing. Obviously, it's nice to have my clients, but I'm not used to income dropped. So
Yeah, I hear you
yeah.
on that.
Yeah, so decided to go with the company. I got a good chance, and this one I said yes to this one. I went to at least 4 or 5 interviews. They all were interested, all making but
Well, let me ask
this
you
one,
this.
sorry,
Are you going to be making more money now than you were before?
absolutely,
Oh, see, there you go.
it's good money I'm making. Yeah, I'm gonna be making pretty good money. So I was getting undercut, and you guys knew I was getting under. I was doing a little under because I thought my intentions were to take over the business, and unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't go in your way, and I decided not to go that way. So
Yeah, that's
it is
why,
what it is. Man.
we have to remember as technicians that it's okay to try to work with companies and, oh man, I feel bad. They're in a tight spot. I don't want to leave them. I'm not saying that technicians need to just up and leave. I still think there needs to be mutual respect on both sides, but technicians need to think about themselves, and I think the younger generation is. I think that's why a lot of us, that's something we could talk about too. A lot of us, we see it in social media. I'll make a post. Like I made a post recently about how new hires shouldn't be thrown to the wolves, and I feel like they should get proper training and apprenticeship and don't just work for 2 weeks and then get thrown out into a van. But I feel like the younger generation is realizing that, and I feel like people are upset with the younger generation though, because they're like, well, these guys, they can't hack it. They don't, I learned the hard way. Well, just because you learned the hard way doesn't mean that everybody else has to. You struggled. There was things about your education that you hated. Some things, some people excelled by learning by getting thrown to the wolves, but not everybody does. And I feel like this industry in general needs to change.
Yeah, I'm getting that little jittery feeling. Like I've been doing a little of these stupid wing courses just for, safety and stuff while I'm here at home or doing my little service calls. But you get the new jitters of a new company, new equipment. So it's gonna be interesting. But I'm up for the challenge. Always up for the challenge.
Yeah.
But definitely not 200K, buddy, for this new position. But it's
like in all reality though, too, 200K is a relative number, because 200K, if you're living in a high-end city in Southern California, is not enough to even have a roof over your head and have a decent life. It's relative to everywhere. You make 200K,
True.
in a Midwest state, and you're freaking buying the biggest mansion in your, damn area,
right.
and
But you're absolutely right. But Toronto, especially, is phenomenal in taxes as well and high expense living. So, but 200K is a really good living in Toronto. I'm not gonna lie. Anything above 100 is really good. Obviously, that's like your supervisors usually, or elite techs, if you want to call them. Yeah. So as long as I'm over that 100 mark, I'm happy, and it is, and hopefully.
I can remember being a kid and thinking that $100,000 a year was like super rich. Like genuinely, I remember that being so much money.
Hold on though. Like it kind of was back when we were kids. I don't know what it was in California, but now like I was just listening to somebody talk about this the other day. And even like if you rewound like 5, 6, 7 years ago, 100,000 then versus 100,000 now,
that's true.
Huge difference.
Yeah, and it was a lot of money a long time ago, in the 80s, when I'm thinking the late 80s, when I was watching my parents, and early 90s, that was a decent living. It's just not anymore. Not in California, because the taxes and everything have gone up so much. It's just insane.
Yeah, it's funny Al Anonymous said that, because I was talking to some just building operators or building engineers or whatever, calling those and fancy tech names. And even their rate went up. I was talking to a few, and I remember asking him and a while back, and they're like, this amount of money. But now even they went up too, just being a building operator, which is pretty cool. How some companies do honor this inflation and they adjust accordingly. Some don't. Some are like 3 steps behind, and unless you're part of a union, you're going to be left behind, which sucks.
So this Ajon 17 says he moved to Fresno from the OC, which is Orange County, to afford a house. He's not joking. Cost of living from Orange County, which is, super nice area. Probably, if I had to guess, the median home price is $1.1 million in Orange County. That's probably median, right? You get much higher than that. Versus to moving to a place like Fresno, where you could probably, I would guess, he can correct me, but pick up a house for 350,000, you know, in a really nice neighborhood. So yeah, I mean, it's getting nuts.
It is, Ray. Yeah, no, I agree. People are moving out of Toronto, the big cities, and going up a little bit north or whatever.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, I think,
yeah.
I was just watching a special about, what's that guy's name? Chris, I think you've seen him. It's like Tortellini or something, Santori.
Peter
That guy-
Santinelli or whatever. Yeah, dude's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome. Love his channel.
So what's his name? Peter what?
Santinelli, I think, isn't it?
Santinelli?
Yeah. Who's this guy?
He's
He,
a
like, just
YouTuber
goes-
that he's like one of the best interviewers. Very interesting. And he just has his channel on YouTube.
It's wild because a lot of times he goes places like you really shouldn't or probably wouldn't go, and he just randomly talks to people and interviews them. You know?
Santinello. Santinello is his name. Dude, some of my favorite
Sounds
videos
Italian.
of his is when he goes to the Appalachian Mountains
Yeah.
or whatever. And also when he goes to Chicago. Dude, he's on the south side of Chicago, and he has such a way where he's not exploiting people, but he literally goes to the inner city, finds just some people he'll usually find gang members or something like that'll escort him around, and he just hears different people's perspectives on things. It's really interesting.
So the one I saw, like he did some interview with a guy that had some, like, I think it was somewhere in Appalachia or whatever, but he had like a learning disability and he got picked on, and he had a kid, and they were talking about how people from the north are moving to, I think maybe it was Tennessee, maybe it was another place, I don't know, wherever. Anyway, they're buying up these houses, and then they're putting big monster houses on it, and they're making it unaffordable for the local people to live.
Wow.
I have to say, I was watching an episode of his the other day, and he actually, for the first time that I'd heard, kind of got political. And I was like, whoa, he wasn't saying political opinions, but he was just kind of edging how politicians are greedy and how things aren't getting done right. And I was like, wow, he was, I think it was an episode, I don't remember where he was, but he was going through a homeless community or in a town that had a really bad homeless and drug population. And he was just saying, like, this is just asinine, you know? And it was just interesting to hear that perspective, but he's a really good interview. You've seen the ones where he gets the Amish kid?
Yeah.
But
he's also been to like Afghanistan and crazy places like that too.
Yeah, before his channel led to this, he lived in Ukraine because his wife's Ukrainian. He's lived all over the world and done like travel stuff, but the channel's popping right now on his stuff that he's doing locally or whatever. But yeah, he's been around for a while. But I just started watching him maybe a year ago, something like that. So
it's a pretty cool channel.
Yeah, it is definitely a
Italian.
cool thing about YouTube, man. There's so much cool content out there.
Smoky Mountains.
Where's that?
That's like Smoky Mountains. That's like, isn't that like Dollywood and all that?
No.
Dollywood, Pigeon Forge.
So I two things. I did a new package unit install yesterday, and it's just so funny because we go from old PSC equipment and we go to this new high efficiency equipment that has ECM blowers and all this different stuff, right?
Somebody just comment that in the chat. Go ahead.
And you know, I always find all the problems, especially with these high-end ECM motors, because they're so susceptible to static and you got to really be careful. So I did this startup, and obviously I haven't done static pressure on this unit in a long time or anything. So new equipment, started up, and checking out the vitals, and I'm like, dude, my static's through the roof, like 1.7, and that's not even at full speed.
Total?
Yeah, total external static 1.7 inches. And I'm like, I can't even speed up the blower high enough to get the full CFM out of it without overloading it, you know? So I'm tailing it back and I go, something's wrong. Like, this is more than just normal, you know? So I go, I bet you anything. And I was making a video of it, but I said, I bet you anything we've got some dampers closed somewhere. Something's happening here. Like, something's going on.
Fire damper or something?
Creating issues. And so I went downstairs. The return's plugged up on the unit. So it's really, really dirty. But I had 1 inch of static on the supply side, which normally you see high static on the low side. And you're like, what the heck? So then I go up there and I kind of got back there today and I had to climb up on an 8-foot ladder and I could see into the supply diffusers and the dampers. They have the vane dampers are shut on a lot of them, dude. The whole lineup, there's probably like 8 of them. And it's like, they're not completely shut, but they're restricting air, you know? And I wanted to fix it, but I didn't have time today. And so we're going to have to go back sometime next week and go open up those dampers and hope we drop the static. Now, I'll be able to drop my return static a little bit too on the unit because I haven't opened fresh air on it yet either. So obviously it's not the greatest, but we have to bring fresh air in. So my return static's going to drop a little bit more when I do bring some fresh air in. But
so that was like the purpose of me going to Ohio this week. There was 2 companies that brought myself and Chris Hughes out, and they're big. They're like companies that grew really, really fast. Like they're huge companies, right? Yeah. And they're both experiencing around like on new installs, slightly over like a 20% callback rate because of high static pressure. Wow. And they were like, they wanted to figure out a way to install a system where they could reduce their callbacks and not screw things up, right? So Chris built this like app. It's like an app in an app. He went through, it was funny. I wish I could have done more, but I don't know how to do any of that stuff. But anyways, he's like, we got to do this together. We got to do this together. He's like, all right, what's your process for doing this? So I went through basically, I don't know if you guys remember, Joe, you saw that article I did for HVAC school like a little over a year ago, right? The one is like replacing residential equipment with predictable results.
Possibly.
No, you don't remember? Anyways, so it's basically like you measure the airflow, measure the static pressure before, and then you analyze and you make selections based on what your reading is when you're quoting the job, right? Yeah. And then you can prevent issues like what you're experiencing based on what your measurements are, you know?
So I'm going to cover this real quick. So Jonathan Hughes says, what's the deal with people saying that you can't charge a system with pressures and temperature? Depending on the system, if my subcoolant is correct or my superheat is correct, the system is correct. No, because you're charging to the required subcooling or superheat at the new airflow because it's not moving proper airflow. So you can adjust charge and make the superheat and subcooling look perfect if your airflow is low. And that's not good because you don't get the proper heat transfer. You don't get the proper air mixing in the building.
And you know what, Jonathan? What, 70% guys of techs are doing that? Like,
and I mean, to be fair, before I really started understanding airflow, I would do that too. You know, until we really, let's be fair too. We still don't have a really easy way to measure airflow. Like, True Flow Grid's awesome, and it is revolutionary, but that measures return side airflow. That does not measure delivered airflow. Okay, so you could still have duct leakage. You're not measuring airflow.
Right.
We have, I mean, you can test for duct leakage. So, you know, to make the True Flow beneficial, do a duct leakage test, then do a True Flow test. Then you can see, okay, I'm losing this much airflow into the attic because of my percentage of duct leakage, right? You could do that. But we still don't have this amazing turnkey. Now, you know, cool things like with Measure Quick, you could do the estimated airflow, which is getting much more accurate. But the estimated airflow in Measure Quick is only accurate if the probes are in the perfect spots. When you're dealing with package units, you can't get to the ductwork. You can't get to the first supply diffuser because it's 18 feet in the air above a table and dining rooms, right? In a home, you can get to the nearest supply diffuser, which is where your first or your psychrometer should be using Measure Quick for a supply side, right? So, you know, on the roof, you're just shoving them in the side of the units, right? So you're, you know, 18 inches away from the evaporator and you're, you know, 4 inches away from the evaporator for the return side. So it's not perfect. So we don't have an amazing way to measure airflow on the commercial side yet. Yes, you have flow hoods, but let's be honest. Flow hoods are a pain in the ass when your diffusers are 18 feet in the air on round duct. How's the average flow hood going to work on a side of round duct? It's not until you put a bunch of shit on it and, you know, make one measurement, you know? So, I mean, again, the industry's getting better with the advent of all the new tools. Things are getting better, but we still don't have the easiest way of measuring airflow.
It's changing too. So we had like a bunch of talks about like the new updated workflows coming out in TrueFlow. That's going to be a freaking game changer on the residential side.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Supposedly like another month, maybe 2 at most, but yeah.
I'm going to say this right now. We can't reveal anything, but I'll just say this. TEC is revolutionizing things. They genuinely are. Measurements in the residential side in the industry, the brain power behind them, the heart that's in the company and stuff, like great people.
Yeah. They have some, they are. That's all.
Yeah, that's all you can say. So
that's all I can say.
That's all you can say.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're revolutionizing things, and keep an eye on TEC for sure. Yes, Jason Johnson, I was talking about the Carrier Eco Blue Axial fan. One thing I do appreciate about Carrier's ECM Axial fan is that you can speed up and slow down the fan with a pointometer on the board. And it tells you how to set airflow, right? So it doesn't give you the actual airflow numbers, but it tells you at this voltage reading at these 2 terminals and this current and, you know, this static pressure, your airflow is going to be this, right? And
that's pretty cool.
And you can dial it down a lot, slow it down, and speed it up. And unlike other ECM motors that are either high, medium, or low, you have full capacity change on this thing.
Right. It's full variable, right?
Pretty much. I mean, with
that just sounds like wildly complicated to figure out the airflow.
It kind of is, and their instructions, while they seem simple, they've got a big sticker on the side of the unit. There's still holes in their instructions. Like you do have to interpolate some stuff. There's nothing in there that says, because it basically gives you a graph and it says measure this point and they have to meet. And if they meet, your airflow will be this, right? Well, what if they don't meet? What if so you have to kind of interpolate in your head, you know, like, ooh, it's like a magnet.
Bill, it's like when you call in sick for work, but then find out the guy in the other's idea of the glory hole is your boss who took that call. Okay.
It says the others. Oh, okay. Got it. What the hell? Wait, that doesn't make sense. I thought he said his boss was on the other side of the glory hole, but then I realized.
I think he typoed it.
Oh, yeah. So Joe read it verbatim, but Joe had the right idea the first time. But yeah.
Okay.
So
sorry, Bill.
But anyways, I got to go back and open those dampers. If I got to get a big enough ladder to get up to those dampers, open them up, and hopefully drop my return and supply static, get a little more airflow. It's not too bad. It's a 10-ton unit, and I'm getting 350 CFMs per ton out of it. But still, I'd like.
So let me ask you this: what was there a 10-ton unit there before?
Yes.
Was the old unit the original unit?
Yes. Nothing's been changed since 2004 when that unit was installed.
Because I was thinking maybe it was a smaller unit and maybe they did air balancing when the place was built or whatever.
No, it's just, dude, it's California, bro. Everything is undersized. I've even like in some places where I know I'll look at the ductwork usually before, and I've even undersized equipment purposely because I knew like, no, this isn't going to work. Was a 5-ton. We're going back with a 4-ton, or we're going back with a 3-ton because that's all your ductwork is. Like I've done it. Customers, you know, I don't know. Trying to explain that to a customer is really confusing, you know, on the commercial side. Like, yeah, I need to put a smaller unit. Why? Well, you're not getting your money's worth anyways. We'll just fix it. And it's like, you don't even realize what I have to do to open up your ceilings and freaking fix all this crap. It's all drywalled. I'm like, you ain't doing that. That's one of the things too on the commercial side is they don't, I shouldn't say commercial side, on the restaurant side, right? Because some commercial buildings do take into account cavity spaces and stuff. But on the restaurant side, dude, the ductwork is an afterthought. And it's just like, dude, it's flex duct, just ran, pinched, crimped, like all this crap. And it's like, yeah, dude, there's no fixing that crap because there's no good way to run it, you know?
I just want to point out the end of Bill's comment here. He says that he's in no shape for the level of professionalism this show requires.
You're right, Bill.
So does that mean Bill actually has a restraint and he's trying to be professional when he just like takes it off the edge and gets us all into trouble that we should have all been canceled by now because of Bill?
Something
like that.
Actually, that comment in the chat, do you guys think there's any savings from like an ECM to a true variable speed motor. Like it's
So there's
very
definitely, I
minimal.
mean, you're definitely saving on electricity, right? But like,
How much though?
yeah.
What's the
Like-
return on investment? I mean, how much does the initial startup cost, and how much does a replacement cost versus, you know, the ECM or the PSC?
Well, that's like the same thing with like high end, like a 20 SEER. All right, so Chris, you have your what SEER is your equipment?
What SEER? 22 or something? I don't know.
Oh,
All right, so you have a 22 SEER, you have a drive board, you have you know, inverter, compressor outside, the whole shebang, right?
Yep.
So you have a 10-year warranty. Year 11, that board goes out. Whatever savings you had, how much do you think that board would cost? And now you could do that board yourself, but if you had to call a company, they would have to mark up the board and then add labor to that, right?
I bet you the board is probably $1,500, $2,000 would be my guess. The inverter for my system, right? And 10 years from now, there's not going to be very many. They're not going to be making them anymore. They're just working off a stockpile. So supply and demand, price goes up, you know, it's time to change. Like that's become the way that everything is. Let's be honest. The only way that I'm going to get a return on investment on my own system is, I mean, I don't even know if I'll get a full, I mean, and I paid cost for everything, right? And have my own sweat into it, right? So my system cost me probably, what did I, $10,000-$11,000 out of pocket, I think.
Oh, is that what it was?
So, well, my system was like $8,000, and then all the materials and everything. So
yeah.
Did you get a tax deduction on that, Chris?
Did I get a tax deduction? It was a freaking business write-off, man. I filmed the whole thing.
What is that, Joe?
It's a doohickey. You put on. No, it's a doohickey. You put on like a bottom of a tank to like blow it out. It has like the air thingy.
That looks like a butt plug.
Back it up a little bit.
Stop.
Hold it. Bring your hand back a little bit, right there. All right. So, what does it show? What kind of tank do you put it on?
Like a water heater.
It's a doohickey.
You screw this on, put the holes, and you could pump nitrogen or, you know, whatever to take out, you know, debris.
Does it work?
You mean the water heater that I just changed 2 days ago?
Yes.
I could have just flushed it once in the 10 years that I had it and not had to change it 2 days ago.
And it just trickles out.
I don't see how that works. Like you're adding air pressure to the bottom of the tank, right?
You just try to blow out the drain so it comes out loose. You know, sometimes it gets gummed up and screwed up with some sediment and minerals or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So
I've never flushed a water heater. I've never cleaned a water heater, but why not just pull the supply and return lines?
You know what I do when I'm doing a water heater?
Drain it out the bottom, dude. Pour something in there, break everything up, and then drain it out the bottom like you're cleaning an ice machine.
But those get clogged.
Easiest way to drain a water heater. Ready?
Go ahead.
Close the supply line on the top.
Okay.
Drain just a little bit off, right, of the bottom. So open the drain a little bit, and then you get to a point where you're like airlocked. Yeah. Close that drain, leave everything shut, and then disconnect all the lines on the gas valve. Spin off the gas valve, and use a nipple. Quickly take the gas valve off. Put a nipple in that hole and use a vinyl hose over that. Like a 1-inch vinyl hose or whatever, it just freaking flies out of there. And as soon as you get that vinyl hose connected, open your relief valve, and it's like empty. Boom.
Mine wasn't too hard to drain. I mean, it was full of freaking sediment and crap, but I just opened the vent or the pressure relief and then opened the drain. It drained until it got airlocked or whatever. Then I went and opened all the hot water valves. You want to
know the problem with doing that?
What's that?
Most of the country, maybe not most of the country, but not everyone gets to use flex lines on their installs, Chris.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So what that means is when you open the water lines in your house, you're breaking that airlock, and now you have to try to solder with water freaking dripping out of your pipe.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
Yeah, makes sense. I still had to solder. I still had to change a valve and stuff, but I just drained it all out. I freaking drained my entire system on my house.
Really? And you didn't have an issue? Oh, you are on a ranch, so everything is single story too. So
yeah, it's single story. Yeah. I closed my water coming into the house. I opened up all the cold water for a while, opened all the hot water, drained it out. I changed a water inlet valve because the gate valve was broken for the water heater. I mean, I just drained it all out. But also too, the the valve for the water heater, the inlet valve, that's the highest point in my house where the water spigot's at.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's not gonna, when I open everything else, that water's gonna sit
Nice.
lower in the house everywhere
Lucky
else,
you.
right? Because my water heater sits on a pedestal that's 3 feet off the ground. So that's the highest point in my house where there's water.
Most here, they're like, Adam, if you don't vacuum lock it or whatever, it's like 3 stories and everything's just coming right down.
Yeah.
You could be there for 2 hours with it freaking dripping.
Yeah.
I thought about using a press because I have a press and I had
press.
to use that in the front of my house where I did have that problem where the water main coming into my house, the main shutoff was not closing, right? So I had to do some soldering and that was difficult getting the house drained from that point, but I got it. But on my house, I was going to use press, but I just, on a water heater that you see every day, I didn't want to see 50 billion press fittings. I wanted to see clean solder joints. So I just wanted to solder it for looks reasons.
Interesting. You see, I know
I'm
solder
staring
still
at it
looks
every
nice.
day. My water heater's in my garage. We park our car, we pull in, we look at it. I just don't want to see 50 billion press fittings right there. So
Yeah. No, I get it. Thanks for showing that app. I don't know if you were able to show it, but that Carrier app, I had no idea Carrier had an app until now, until you showed me. That was awesome.
Let me see. How can I do this? I can't do it on my phone, but you guys want to go download this app on your phones. It's called Carrier, like Carrier, the manufacturer, COMM space lit. So Carrier commercial literature. And it's a Carrier app. So Carrier lit. Go download that app. Screw the Blue On app. Like that's cool, but it doesn't even have all the stuff that this Carrier app has, right? And it basically has all the manuals. You can even find manuals for old BDP equipment. So if any of you guys work on an equipment from the 80s and 90s Carrier stuff, it was, you know, they bought so many different companies. One of the main companies was BDP. And you can find old install manuals and service manuals for BDP equipment from 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever it may be. BBC, ABC. So the reason why I brought this up was I did that new unit install. And when you do the new unit install, they come with the installation manual. Okay. The installation manual, it's lacking information. So I go to the Carrier lit app and download the actual service manual for the AC. And ironically, I went to the Blue On app because Joe asked me, I told him, go download this app. And he goes, it sounds like the Blue On app. And I go, not really, because I went to the Blue On app and I looked up this model number and all they have is the install manual. They don't have the service manual for this unit.
Yeah. I hate when they do that where they sent out units and they don't have the service manual, just the install manual, and you're trying to
and there's nothing wrong. I'm not saying Blue On's bad. I mean, they still do a service too. Their app is great because they have manuals that people don't know how to get.
Yeah.
But you know, there's more. So
but I think that's becoming, that happened with the unit on my house as well too. Where you have the install manual and they don't provide the service manual, but you need some of the information in the service manual to commission this during install. Yes. Why do they do that? What the heck?
I don't know. It pisses me off. Like, fuck. I don't know why they do something like that. It's weird. Yeah, that was the app. It's cool. I'm definitely using that, and for sure, this new job, I probably might have to use it.
And so you know, I was able to download the service manual for that AC, and then I'm looking through the service manual, just flipping through it, and it's like I really haven't even stared at it yet, but I just quickly breezed through. They have a full breakdown of how those axial vane ECM motors work, how to take them apart, how to replace the components.
Nice.
I'm like, that's freaking badass, dude. So got to give them that. And guess what? You don't got to pay nothing for it, unlike other major good manufacturers that make you pay for a shit ton of their manuals and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So Joe, are you when are you starting your new position?
Tuesday.
Are you excited? Are you nervous? What's going on?
A little nervous, but it's normal. I'm pumped.
If anybody can't find the app or anything, if you're trying to look for it, shoot me an email and I can send you screenshots. I know there's some people in there saying they're going to download it because it is a little hard to find, because Joe tried to find it and he couldn't because the spelling has to be perfect. So it's COMM space lit. So Carrier space lit.
Oh, that was what it was, Chris. It's that you said it the second time. Yes.
Yeah.
Calm in the middle. That's what the yeah.
But every once in a while, I suggest you guys go to the app stores, whatever platform you have, and just search HVAC, HVACR, ice machines, air conditioners. New stuff pops up, and people code things weird, and you'll find things. You're like, I never knew that app existed.
Although I think you need to be careful. I downloaded. I was trying to find actually a new fan law 2 calculator because I switched over to iPhone, from Android, and I downloaded one, and it does the math wrong.
Oh,
Really?
I've seen that before.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I want to go back
How
real
did
quick
you
to
know?
that carrier app. And you're distracting me with the math. There's actually an iPhone will do math in general with the standard app different than an Android phone too. Like they do different math, but with that app, less is more on the carrier one. So like for instance, you're putting in a model number, 48FC was the style of the unit that I was putting in, right? But if you put 48FC in any more digits, it'll say it doesn't exist. Like you have to delete things and just go with the actual series of the unit. So 48FC and then boom, all the installs. And they'll have you have to scroll through. I will say it's a cool app, but then also there's some disorganization in it. You really got to scroll through a shit ton of apps. I mean, a shit ton of manuals to find the one that associates to what you're doing. And you got to pay attention to the details when it shows all the manuals too. So, Cyborg, I still haven't sent your camera. I need to send Cyborg his camera too. You guys need to remind me.
Camera?
Yeah, I told him I'd send him a webcam.
Well, that was
his camera.
Oh yeah, he's got his Idaho potato that he's.
Yeah, I have it's right here, dude. I have a Logitech whatever thing.
Isn't he like a computer guy?
I don't know. No, he's an electrician guy.
I know, but isn't he like a computer dude?
Yeah, he started his apprenticeship, I think, apprenticeship in electrical, I believe.
I know that, but isn't he like into computers and all that stuff?
Yeah, techie stuff. Yeah, techie stuff. Like small electronic stuff. Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. And some people say they can only find that carrier app on iOS and not on Android. I have it on Android because I've had it for a long time. I don't know if they pulled it off or something. I have no idea.
Usually it's the other way around, so it must be there. Usually you can't find it on the Apple side. They're so freaking stringent, and Android has it, so they must have something.
Yeah.
Doesn't.
So what else is up, Adam? What have you been up to, man?
Traveling. This upcoming week, I'm home, and then I'm going to Asheville. Is it North Carolina? I think it's North Carolina, right?
For the
I
summit?
don't know. I always get the North and South Carolinas mixed up. They're Carolina. They're kind of two peas in a pod, so whatever. Same thing. Oh, guess who I'm seeing?
Who's that?
Ted Cook is coming out. We're gonna hang out.
No way.
Yeah, and I actually might stay an extra day and do a ride along with him and go check out his shop because he's right down the street from there.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Go live on Overtime if you can. That'll be great.
That's the goal. Yeah, we actually might go live at Summit a couple times. You know what I mean?
Cool.
So
put it on Overtime.
Yeah.
Just hit the live button, put it on. It's funny. That'll be a cool show. Actually, look who came in, Dustin Cole. We wanted to get Dustin Cole in here today because I seen the
last
poster.
minute we tried, but he had something going on. But we definitely want to get Dustin on because Joe wants to pick his brain. So
yeah, I see what he did with that ERV the other day. It's pretty neat. I like what he's doing there. I just want to know his process, his thought process, and what he's how he's balancing it. And all
next week, Dustin, if you got time next Friday, pop in. I wish I had my little dinger.
Ding ding. Yep.
I'll
go live at the summit. Dustin,
I need to start booking flights and everything because we have AHR and the symposium back to back this year in Orlando. So I'm going to start getting that stuff all booked up soon. It's gonna be
I got to call in about that because I'd never bought my ticket for symposium and I signed up to be a speaker and I never heard back. So I might not be going. I don't know.
Oh, you'll be going. You'll be going. I already bought a ticket though. They will usually give you a ticket if you're a speaker, but I had already bought one before they asked me to be a speaker. I haven't committed to it yet. They may not even want me anymore. I don't know. We'll see. But I have an email where they asked me to be a speaker. I just don't. Oh, I have an idea. I've been trying to think like what I would potentially have a topic on, and I think I might have an idea.
Good. Do it.
See,
you're good at what you do, Chris.
But what do I do? That's the question. I just know a little bit.
Just keep doing what you're doing. You and your overtime mug. I don't have any overtime mugs. I gave them all away.
Yeah, this is when Adam was like hemorrhaging money. This is why overtime will never be profitable, because Adam probably dropped 5 to 10 grand on the overtime show. So
Yeah,
We were just giving out Yetis like they were freaking cupcakes.
yep, guaranteed, dude. He had to drop at least 5 grand on overtime, at least.
Yeah,
5 grand.
it wasn't fun. Yeah.
I probably dropped a bit too, because remember the freaking
S-Man.
S-Mans? I bought a bunch of those.
Oh, yeah.
and, yeah.
Nice.
508, going to my first time going to the summit.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I wish you guys would have come. We could have been doing next year, Joe. By that time, you'll have your record expunged and you'll be ready to go. They'll let you back in the United States. You know?
So he says, lately you've been having a hard time finding leaks on reaching coolers and freezers. Nitrogen, soap bubbles, heated diode leak detector. I mean, maybe there's something up with your leak detector. I don't ever use soap bubbles to find a leak. I should say. I always start with an electronic leak detector. Then once I find it, or I can't, I have a general vicinity, then I'll pinpoint with soap bubbles. But yeah, I don't know. I carry 2 different types of leak detectors in my van. So if I ever have a problem, I'd go to the other one. Like, for instance, the other day I was using my field piece leak detector and I broke the tip on it. But I was like, oh no. But hey, I got my
I have another one.
I got the D-Tech or the Infocon Stratus in there, and it's like, oh, let me go grab the Stratus, and then I could finish up with that.
You know what I found that's useful very as well too for redundant of stuff, tools, let's say, meters. I for some reason I've been having lately just meters. I don't know why. 1 meter something fucks up. So by the way, my Fluke fucked up here. My old Fluke. Now I got a new Fluke. That fucked up the other day, so I'm glad I had 2 meters. And then one was over 600 volts, so it was giving me a little issues on a small field piece. So, anyways, but I was gonna say small tracer gas too. You can add to the nitrogen, blast.
Oh yeah. But that's assuming your leak detector works, because the tracer gas only works. I mean, why wouldn't you find the leak before? But
yeah,
right.
So I have a story related, unrelated. You ready?
Okay.
Are you sitting down?
No, I'm standing up.
All right, cool. All right. So my uncle called me, and randomly, initially, I think he wanted me to come to the rescue, which I think is hilarious, by the way. Let me preface this whole thing. So after I got rid of my company and I started working with National Comfort Institute, one by one, my family members started having major HVAC issues, and they were calling me. And now they get to see the real taste of how much HVAC costs.
Yeah.
I know it sucks for them, but that was always like a stressor in my life, trying to help people out, blah, blah, blah.
Well, and when you help people out, I always had a hard time charging people. I'm just just whatever, it's no big deal. And then when you're done, you're like, God damn, that was a lot of time,
Yeah. So he called me and he said that he had a company come out, and his system, which by the way is probably 26, 27 years old, is 100% flat on charge, right? 100% flat on charge. And they said, you need a new system. And they were it sounded like they were pressuring him into buying a system quickly to get an R410 system, because they said the new stuff coming out is propane.
Yeah.
So I'm questioning how big of and now what do they say? One of the ingredients in A2Ls, is it propene? I'm going to look this up real quick.
I don't know. There's something in there.
It's something that's spelled very similar to propane, but it's not propane. So my question is, I bet there's a bunch of companies that are just misinformed.
Yeah.
But I bet there's a bunch of companies that are fear mongering people as well too, right?
I would say that I watched this family on YouTube, this guy called Roman Atwood, right? I've watched him for years. He just started coming back making videos again. He bought a laundromat and he's putting new air conditioners on it. So he has the air conditioning company out there and he's filming them, right? Just randomly. Nobody meant to say anything. And the kid that was the tech there said, well, we want to get these units now because the new units, they're going to have propane in them. And I about threw my remote through the TV when I was watching that. And I'm like, God damn it. This is redneck fucking people that don't understand. Yeah. There's no propane in this shit.
Great timing. Tom just made this comment right there, right when you were saying that. Yeah. When I hear somebody say propane, a new system, you got a scammer sales trying to, use a scare tactics on the customer.
Dustin Cole's 100% right, dude. In fairness, the damn supply houses, dude. Okay, so California is the worst at refrigerant regulations. Okay, we have a new regulation coming out that basically says January 1st, 2025, it is illegal to sell virgin 410A, or no, virgin 404A, which is the main refrigerant gas we use for refrigeration in the state of California. And that is true. It is true. Okay. It is illegal to sell virgin refrigerant in California 404A after January 1st. That's a huge deal. People don't even realize. They didn't even do that with 22. They phased it out, right? But the key word is virgin refrigerant. So I walked into the supply house the other day. They're like, guys, they're telling me, Chris, are you ready for the change out when 404 is phased out? I go, phased out? What are you talking about? He goes, 404 is being phased out January 1st. And I go, no, it's not. And he goes, it's illegal to sell 404. And I go, it's illegal to sell virgin. Sell me reclaimed. Oh, just like we do with R22.
Oh, 22. Yeah, exactly.
Recycle.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But still, it's like, guys, the supply houses are fear mongering because they don't know better. And they're like, it's illegal to sell 404 after January 1st. No, it's not.
It's the telephone.
You know? Yeah.
So to get back to what I was saying before, I just looked it up. So it's R454B is 31.1% tetrafluoropropene. So it looks propene looks exactly like propane, except the A is switched with an E, and it's a whole different word.
Yeah. But it's nuts, man. There's so much misinformation out there, and I'm done fighting it. I'm just like, whatever. Everybody's gonna figure it out, you know. I still love the people that every once in a while, it'll be a cold day in hell when I ever work on a flammable system. Get the fuck out of the fucking trade, dude. Because I'll never have a flammable refrigerant. Well, you have it in your house.
Did you see what Hausch posted? And Hausch, he's still in here, but he posted something that the DOE is outlawing. They're requiring, 95% efficient water heaters in the near future. I don't know if he posted a date, like when that date would go into effect. But that would be wild. You know what I mean? Like, that is.
Here's my thing. Like, you know, I knew my water heater was going out. Obviously, I wasn't ready for it to just stop working one day, right? But it just stopped working, and I'm like, I knew it was going out. It was starting to create issues. I wasn't even going to try to diagnose it. Just put a new damn water heater in, right, and just do it. But I kind of wanted to upgrade, and I was kind of going back and forth. Do I want to go with a heat pump water heater, or do I want to go with a tankless? Like,
you could have cooled your garage.
I was weighing out the options, right? I was thinking about it, but both of them required extensive work. I would have had to run power to the area. We're going to have to redo some things. Like, it would have been an ordeal, right? So I obviously just needed to. But one of my downsides, and I'm still going to change. I'm not going to keep this. I'm going to change to something soon. Like, this is just a temporary solution. I just threw in a cheap water heater, call it a day. But I'm going to either go tankless or I'm going to go heat pump water heater. Haven't decided yet. But the bad thing about tankless is how much you have to flush it. It's really important because of the areas in it. You really got to take care of it. Obviously, the heat pump water heater, the reliability is not there. Show me a manufacturer that isn't having a return rate right now through the roof. You know,
really?
Yeah. Okay. Don't take this as the gospel, but things that I've heard, one of the big issues with water heaters right now is plumbers can't work on them, but plumbers install them. Plumbers have to be EPA certified to work on them. That's not the only reason why, but one of the reasons why they're having so many issues with these, they're going to fill up landfills with heat pump water heaters because they don't service them. The manufacturers, if there's a problem, they just replace it.
Yeah, that's what me and you, actually, I think we walked over to, was it Ream? I think it was the Ream booth at AHR. We talked to the guy, and he basically said they're not made to work on. Like, if it goes bad, you just need to change it.
But when we're looking at it, it's just a tiny refrigeration system. Like, it'd be simple. I work on refrigeration systems like that every day, but they don't have the support staff, nor do they have the technical support staff. Yeah. So again, I'm not saying plumbers are dumb or anything like that, but plumbers can't work on them because it's a refrigeration system. But technically, a refrigeration guy can install it because he's not a plumber. So it's a gray area depending on codes and what you can do in your area, you know? So the plumber has to install it, or you have to be able to install that with your contractor's license, right? But they can't work on it. So it's that weird area. And
Yeah, you know what? I've heard guys that say they've replaced almost 100% of the heat pump water heaters that they've installed under warranty issues or they failed or whatever. And then I've heard other guys that have installed quite a few and they say they've never had issues. So I'm wondering if it's like a water quality thing or an air quality thing, right? Could it possibly be something contaminated in the air?
And Dustin saying a monoblock reverse cycle chiller. Yes, I think that monoblock systems are gonna be the future, because with the monoblock system, we're gonna be able to do more air conditioning work, more water. Like there's a lot of stuff, and I feel like we're gonna have the ability to have some sort of package unit outside. It's just gonna have pure flammable refrigerants in it. It's out of the house. It's pumping some kind of secondary heat transfer fluid inside, glycol, whatever it be. You know, we're getting all sorts of stuff off of that. But you put all your eggs in one basket, though, too. If you're relying on that to do water heating and other things, you know, you're putting all your eggs in one place. You know, it breaks down, everything goes down. So,
yeah, but
yeah, go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, like, that's kind of so what, right? Like, if one thing breaks, it's not like you're gonna choose to fix it. Like, you have to fix it. So, like,
but here's the thing that consumers aren't being educated about right now. Okay. And I mean, even I'm kind of bummed out about this, but if I lose an inverter board on my carrier unit, do they have it in stock?
Maybe
not.
Yeah.
Maybe not. And I'm out for how long? Now, I would just go buy a new goddamn unit, put it on there and have a spare unit or something when I'm done, right? Get the board, make it work after. But, you know, normal consumer, they can't do that kind of crap. You know, like, I mean, if something breaks on my system and it's detrimental, I would literally go buy a new condensing unit and just be like, give me the parts off that, put it on this, and have the extra parts for spare, right? But Ryan says, plumbers are dumb. Chris whispered that in my ear once. I may have, Ryan. I just don't remember it. So
I'll comment here.
I'm bringing these comments. Huh?
No, I was just saying, I'm going through these comments because I don't even know what the hell a monoblock is. You said a chiller, so I'm thinking like a mini chiller for the houses, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like a self-contained unit where it would heat or cool a fluid, glycol or whatever. You run pipe lines into the house to like a water coil, right?
Yeah. But then there's other issues with that. So we're running PEX lines in the house now. So what is going to prevent floods? What's going to, you know, I mean, that kind of stuff. So you have a lot of variables. It's not just
but you know what, like it's not as bad as it could be with a boiler system, because most likely it's a sealed system and it's not like you have like a feeder.
You're only pumping out 10 gallons. Yeah. It's only got 10, 15 gallons of fluid in it, and that's it. And then it's empty. So
sure. Closed system.
Houch had this point. He made this point. I don't know if it was at the symposium or what, but good point. Like, if you were a company and if you installed these type of systems and that was all you installed, if it was in the middle of winter, everyone's like, what do you do if there's an issue with it? Well, you could, since it's a package unit, just go out there really quickly and install, like, swap it out, bring the other one back to your shop and work on it. Leave the one there if you wanted to.
Yeah. And
then you have a spare to do the same thing in another house, or go swap it out again. You know?
So one of the things that I seriously considered, and I really, really did, was buying a second unit when I bought my unit. I seriously considered buying a second one, just because I heard people saying that there was supply issues and people were worried, and I just wanted to try the Infinity system, and I almost bought a spare, you know, outdoor unit just to put in storage. But then I like looked at the price and I was like, that's not practical to spend, you know, $5,000 or $6,000, whatever I paid for it, you know, just to have a spare. Like, I was like, I don't know. So if I ever ran into that problem where I needed an inverter board and I couldn't get it and it was 2 months out or something like that, I would take that as the time to go ahead and swap my system out for another brand. Like, and not as like, I've always said that I'm not going to keep this in my house forever. I'm going to eventually change it out and change to something different. The framework's there, the duct works there, everything's fine. It's just a matter of modifying the system for a new air handler, you know, and everything else. So, but again, most people can't do that, right? But I do agree, having spares on hand, that's easy. I'll tell you what, after COVID, I started keeping old parts, which I don't ever sell old parts. But when I was getting rid of equipment, I'm like, dude, we can't get those circuit boards anymore. And I have 30 of those units. I started saving old circuit boards and disconnect switches and different things, because same reason why I have a lifetime supply of toilet paper in my house now, right?
You're one of those people?
No, but I keep 2 packs, right? A Costco pack. I always have 2 in my house. So we pull from one, and when that one gets low, we always go get another one. So we always have 2 packs in our house. But
look at the value of those.
It was the dumbest thing. And it's not that I was afraid that we were going to run out of toilet paper. I was pissed off that all the dumbasses were buying pallets of it.
Right.
But you fed into it too. Here's the thing.
Oh, I did.
I remember the day when Trump shut down the country and said, "Hey, we got a what was it called? A national emergency or whatever he called it." But I was working on this house, this residential house, and this dude, he's like, I got to run to the store, because we were listening to it like on the phone when this is all happening. This dude came back in his convertible with like 5 of those monster Costco things of toilet paper. The dude's house I was working on, like, was he freaking gonna get the runs or something? Like, what is going on here?
Oh man. So I wanted to talk about something else too. You know, manufacturers. Now, this isn't the only thing, but one of the issues right now with major manufacturers is that they're completely having to retool their entire factories for these new refrigerant regulations and new system changeouts, right? So you got the A2L refrigerants, and they've literally had to redo their certain sections of their factories, right? And put new equipment in to make the stuff and all that. With that being said, there's a significant investment into retooling your factory, because there's a return on investment. You got to be profitable. So the other thing with these manufacturers, and I'm not justifying, because some of them do have some deceptive price increases that they've done, but that's why the prices keep going up. And the other thing about these factories is these A2L refrigerants, they already have a shelf life. They already have an end date. We already know when those are going to be phased out too. Yeah. So these manufacturers are having to put billions of dollars into their factories to make this new equipment that's only going to be profitable for a short amount of time. Yeah, because then they're going to have to change to a new refrigerant, which we don't even know what that refrigerant is going to be yet. But we already know that these refrigerants are only here for this long.
That was like the whole thing during COVID with like the amount of price increases that we had during COVID was incredible, and it blew my mind. And like looking at what we sold jobs for and the price of equipment before COVID to after COVID and currently, it's freaking nuts, you know? And that was the thing too. They kept raising the prices, but like the quality sucked during COVID because it was hard to find workers and this and that. Like they would screw things up from the factory all the time. And then like the service would suck too. They wouldn't have warranty parts and everything else. So like, let's keep raising the price and keep making our service worse. Right.
Yeah. It's nuts. And I mean, the prices, dude, I just sold a 10-ton package unit 2 days ago, right? I sold that identical package unit, same labor hours, same everything. And it was probably like $7,000 cheaper. And that was like 3 years ago. Wow. My markups and stuff really haven't changed. Like, I mean, I might have even discounted the labor a little bit because I'm like, God damn.
So it's the parts that were more?
Just everything, dude. The install, like the 10-ton was $29,000, and it was like $6,000 or $7,000 cheaper.
Got it.
A couple years ago, you know, and it's like, God damn.
This is interesting. Froggy Beluga is talking about CO2, and for the first time, a couple of weeks ago, a month ago, whatever, I went to that. I was out at a firehouse doing blower door testing, and we were with this company, the Chicago company called CETA. They do a lot of the weatherization and that, you know, and they are doing this complex, I guess, that have self-contained, or they're split. There's like a tank. It's for water heaters. I believe there's like a tank on the inside, and it's an outdoor unit. And there's, I don't really remember exactly all the ins and outs, but it's a CO2 system, which I thought that was wild for residential. Never heard of it before. He's like, yeah, it definitely exists.
Sean Price is asking what the difference in crane pricing was. Crane pricing hasn't changed too much in my area, but I deal with mostly mom and pop companies for my crane operators because I like to support small businesses and stuff. So My
Lucky
crane
him.
for like a 10-ton lift is probably about $600 or $800.
Not bad.
No, for a crane that has a 40-foot reach, and
That's not that much more than what we pay here.
yeah, it's not too bad. So, but you know, depending on like if I send that same driver, let's say it costs 600 here, but if I like him, I like his company because the shit's not going to break. You know, I'll have him go 30 miles the other direction, and my price will be $1,000. You know, because he does charge for going out of his area and stuff. You know, so.
Herman, how are you liking that Ecobee? I've seen that poster. He got an Ecobee lately, didn't he? I missed that. Wonder how he's liking it. CO2 would be interesting, but I think for real, 290 probably makes more sense.
But even 290 is
so
going to be
too.
phased out because of the freaking stuff
concerns.
they got to do to get R290, right? And just all the process of getting 290. It doesn't just come out of a tap out of the ground, you know? So
yeah,
I mean, it just blows my mind, man. Just all this stuff. I mean, I just noted I don't really have a solution, so who am I to bitch? But I'm just like, it's just kind of silly, all this crap.
the T transfer more is
This
great.
is true. I would crap my pants. I wouldn't know what to do with it. I would call Brett. Be like, Brett.
But here's the thing. Like, I get CO2, and I get, like, you know, we'll talk to Brett. Brett's probably in the chat still. He wasn't here earlier, but CO2 is awesome. And I guess in some form it is the future, but our industry is not truly going to adopt CO2 for at least another 10 to 15 years. Like the general population of our industry is not ready for CO2. And I get it. I know there's regulations. I know all that stuff, but that is one thing I'm going to tell you is not going to be mainstream in the industry quite yet. It's getting there, but it's so complicated. And you know, I know Brett will say, well, it's not so bad, but you know, he has a great understanding. But for general normal people, it's not a super easy thing to pick up like that. Okay. So there is a huge learning curve, and there should be, because it's can be very, very dangerous. Like, I genuinely think that our industry, one solution across the board in the United States, I hate government regulations. I generally do. I really hate government regulations, but we need some serious licensing requirements in this country. We genuinely need some real rules that vet technicians and give them something similar, but not with the hypocrisy of Canada. But we need like a Red Seal certification or something here.
Well, it's wild that like there's license. You have to be a licensed plumber. You have to be a licensed electrician. And then, like, in Chicago, you don't need to be licensed at HVAC. You need a business license, but that's about it. There's some places you need a license, but a lot of places you don't.
Yeah, you need a business license in California to be an HVAC company. You need an EPA license in California to be an HVAC tech.
That's crazy.
That's it. So
it's crazy to me because here, obviously, you guys know we have the same license as electrician and plumber, elevators, and because we do, and we're not one of the highest paid. Because we're dealing with electricity, we're dealing with pressures, we're dealing with water, pipe, ductwork, everything. It's just nuts how you guys didn't.
You know what I heard about the elevator industry?
What?
It has its ups and downs.
Oh yeah.
Ding.
Hold on, wait. I can do this.
Can you?
Nope.
Oh.
There you go.
Does anyone know what happened to Rick Durkmeyer? How do you say his last name?
What about Rick? I talked to him quite a bit.
I haven't talked to him in a long time. I haven't talked to Rick.
Yeah. I probably talked to Rick about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago. Talk to him, but we'll text and stuff every once in a while.
Boy, I think we will see a shift of outdoor chillers for residential in East into CO2 and 290. And
I think that is a practical thing. I think that is a good solution. It removes, the volatile CO2 out of the house, or R290 out of the house, and puts it outside, some sort of a chiller system. I think that's, with the advent of the PEX that we have these days, it can handle cold temperatures 100%. That is a viable option, but the efficiency loss is a little different. I think there's got to be some efficiency loss trying to pump a secondary fluid through a line, right? I don't know. We've gotten refrigerant down to a science.
I think if you change you do multiple heat transfers, there's always an additional loss, right?
Yeah. But I mean, we take PEX lines and run glycol chillers all day long. I don't, but I mean, they're in restaurants all day long running at 26-degree glycol temp, all day long and keeping beer lines cold. So there's no reason why they can't, and they don't ever have issues, and they run those underground. They just have specialized pre-made line sets that are cooled and everything. So, but
Tom says we need to vet and certify some of the owners that are not even qualified to be owners. I agree. The owners need to know and should be responsible for training and being competent about their product. Yeah.
I have to say that, I mean, not to get crazy on this, but private equity is killing us. It is hurting our industry right now. And there's nothing wrong with people making money. My biggest issue with private equity is in general, they're ran by people that are just concerned about numbers and don't care about the industry. It's not a business owner that truly has a conscience. It's just dollars and pennies and move on. I mean, some of the business models of some of these big private equity companies are literally buy a business, squeeze everything out of it, dump the business, buy another business, squeeze everything out of it, own the market, push everybody else out. You see it happening right now it's the Amazon effect. They're coming into the industry. They're lowballing, really low prices on the commercial side right now. They're lowballing, slowly starting to strangle the other business owners because they're lowballing their prices. On the plus side, these big companies right now, they don't have the service techs yet, nor I don't know if they're going to get. Of course
not.
So they're dying on that side, but they got low prices, but they're not fixing things, so it's just hurting things right now.
Ground source hydronic. Sean Price says, think ground source hydronic could have a place?
Not
would be for cold water. Lines on the roof could heat from the sun.
I know there's underground pipelines, the water treatment, sewage, gas lines and everything. There's underground pipelines, but when you have seismic activity, you're always taking a risk with that stuff. And think about a residential contractor drilling, underground lines or laying underground lines and not doing it correctly, or drilling into wells and not doing it correctly.
I think that another thing too is I've worked on systems that have the where it's like the hydronic solar heat. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe they've come a long way or whatever, but it was never enough to heat the house. It was enough to supplement and add heat, boost the heat, but it was not enough to give it full bore. So
I know the other day Toronto opened up their lake valves, or I don't know, I just seen on the news pop up they're using the lake water to cool the big buildings. I don't know if they're using them as cooling tower kind of thing, or how they're using the water, but they're using it.
They do that in some places around me too, where they'll take ocean water or river water or lake water. It's kind of, I think they use it as a secondary heat exchanger, do they not? They pump lake water in, use it. It never touches the other stuff. It's just, secondary system. And
right. Pretty cool though. Pretty cool.
But then there is places that will, our local mountain resorts will use the lake water as snow. So they pump the water from the lake up to the mountain resorts, because we don't get that magical stuff just naturally falling here. We might get a little bit of snow, but then they supplement it with, half their snow is basically man-made from the lakes down below.
Makes sense.
Yep.
All right. The other thing before we leave, Jason Johnson, that vibration tool. Vibrator seemed pretty cool. I didn't know, they had something like that, or maybe I did.
The vibration analysis tool that he had.
Yeah. He posted on HVAC Overtime.
Vibrator tool? What?
Yeah.
Jason posted a video working right. He was working on a fancy pump or motor or something, and he had a vibration tool on it, giving him the measurements and stuff on his fancy meter.
And apparently it gives you, I don't know where you got the specs from, it gives you a certain range, the bearing, a vibration, what decimal is supposed to be, a healthy decimal, you know what I mean? So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Beats anything else, I guess.
Cool. Well,
but anyways,
let's wrap it up.
All right, guys. See us next week. Hopefully Bill will be here. I will be here. Same bad time, same bad channel. Don't eat yellow snow.